Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome back to the Couchside Judges. I'm Scott Fontana. Follow me on Twitter at Scott_Fontana.
And I'm Dan Urban. Follow me at The Dan Urban. Follow the podcast at Couchside Judges. And subscribe to us wherever you listen.
And if you like this show, you got to give us that 5-star review that you've been meaning to do.
And as always, we talk judging in MMA. Head on over to abcboxing.com to read the criteria.
Forget what we talked about judging in, sir?
I said MMA.
No, it was a little pause there.
I just paused.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, it's just more for effect.
I think it was just my brain shut off for a second.
Okay, I was going to say, it was almost like, we talk about judging in...
It's not that I forgot.
MMA.
It's like the signal to make myself speak was a little slow.
Well, what if just for spits and gigs, we one time just did, we talk about judging in the court system.
I think I'm decently versed in that.
You probably could. I mean, I've watched Better Call Saul.
The thing is, we apply the same thing because you can look at the law as the criteria. While some things you may not agree with, but that's the way the law is written, and that's the way you have to view the law, I guess.
Well, now I would like to see some sort of system of appeals where corners and coaches and fighters will bring up, sir, I'd like to reference the decision in this fight of 2004. Precedence. Yes, but yeah, obviously this is an MMA show. It's not changing. We're not gonna switch it up. This is and we're back after a nice Memorial Day weekend break. I think it was enough to make everybody miss it, right?
Yeah.
And you were at CFFC. Was it the other day? Or was it last week?
I actually was not there.
You didn't go.
It was raining. I didn't feel like driving down the New Jersey Turnpike in the rain. So
was it a bad rain? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was not good.
Okay.
I mean, it was terrible.
I see.
And to be honest, I'd rather drive in a blizzard than any rainstorm. I hate driving in rain.
See, I think I would rather drive in heavy rain because I feel like I have more experience in it than driving in like a blizzard. When it's a blizzard out there, I'm like, no, not even going anywhere.
The thing with blizzard, you can see, unless it's a whiteout, you can see everything. When it rains for me at night, especially, the lights coming from the opposite direction blind me, and the lanes disappear. And hydroplaning scares the crap out of me. I like when you hit it like a large puddle while you're on the highway, and you're like, oh my god, the wheels going all over the place. Not for me.
I have driven enough in snow that wouldn't keep my car in the place I would prefer it to be either. This is more or less the equivalent of hydroplaning with snow. So I'm like, nah, I don't like that. It almost has like the worst of everything.
I also think in snow, it's universal that everyone slows down, where in rain, some people do not.
All right, I think you're probably on to something there. I think to a degree, at least in the Northeast, there's people who listen to us all over the country, in the United States, and different parts of the world. I don't know how it is for you guys and gals who are listening. I'm sure we have plenty of female listeners. Do we though? If we do, if you're a woman and you listen to this show, just shout out to you first, and second off, let us know because I'm curious if we have some diversity in gender of our show. But yeah, this is kind of just the reality of living in the Northeast. That sometimes you deal with weird drivers in snow and I guess rain too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Enough weather. I don't want to talk about that anymore, sir. Let's talk about fights because we had live fights. This wasn't the most meaningful of events, I guess.
No.
In the grand scheme, it was kind of just another fight card, right? UFC Vegas X number.
Little warm up to the pay-per-view next week.
It was something to come out, and it was good to have live fights again. I think this card definitely exceeded the way it looked on paper, which happens a lot.
Well, we got
when it comes down to
4 out of 5 first-round finishes on the main card, right?
Yep. Don't see that too often.
So that's always cool.
And there were some decent fights on here too. I mean, not ones that were really standing out as far as like pre-fight, but I think largely the action delivered. Some duds in there too, but yeah. I mean, what do you think of the main event? Let's start with the main event here between Alexander Volkov and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Not that it delivered, because obviously it was a heavyweight fight that didn't go a full round, which did its job. Don't want more than 5 minutes of heavyweight action. What about the fight fallout? did it mean anything that Volkov got the first round finish of Rozenstruik to you, or it just comes out of here?
I think it means something. Hey, don't forget about me, I guess, a little bit.
Okay. Not writing him off.
I'm still hanging around. I'm still here. I can still finish, so still dangerous.
But does that mean he's like, I mean, do you think he's actually going to get himself to a title shot at any point? Not that he's next. Like, no one would look at that and be like, oh, yeah, he's next. But do you think he's even got a chance to get there? Like, do you see a run in him?
Yeah, heavyweight's weird, so I
forget about like the fact that it's a weird landscape right now, but even just him, you know, do you think he's got enough in him to make a run, beat the right guys, and get to the top?
Just looking at who's ahead of him on the meaningless UFC rankings.
Yeah,
accurate. I don't see him beating any guys. Maybe Derek Lewis, he has a shot.
If they were to do that, yeah.
Right, he was actually beating him when they did fight.
And it sounds like he actually doesn't really care for that rematch. I think probably if I was to read the tea leaves, because it doesn't really get him very far. Derek Lewis is kind of on the way down now.
Maybe he beats Tuivasa.
Yeah, you never know.
The others, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think he'd have a lot of problems there. So, yeah, this is really just, okay, it was another heavyweight headliner between a bunch of guys who've headlined before. They like to use these guys as headliners. But who they don't like to use as headliners are Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan, who've never headlined for the UFC before, ever.
Someone posted something.
It was Smoogie posted that.
With what was the main attraction or main eventing, what weight class was? Is that what you're thinking?
No, I'm thinking of something else. He was the one who pointed out the stat that I pointed out, basically. There's 11 combined heavyweight headliners for Volkov and Rozenstruik, and there are none combined headliners for Sterling and Yan.
Okay.
That was from Smoogie, who's I think he's a good follow on Twitter.
Yeah, so basically what the one I was referring to was someone posted all the headliners for this year, and it's like almost 20% of cards is headlined by heavyweight.
That sounds right.
So, I mean, there's still this thing amongst combat sports where heavyweight's the premier division for some reason.
I don't know who really thinks that. I don't know who the ones at home are being like, oh, there's a heavyweight fight on. Oh, we got to watch that. I feel like at this point, the UFC has become so homogenous with these fight nights that they could stick literally anything there. And it's not going to make a whole lot of difference to most people, except if they find some certain transcendent type of names and fighters and that kind of thing. Sometimes it does elevate, but most of the time, I don't think it really does. It's just, hey, UFC's on. I watch UFC every weekend. I'll watch this. Or I don't watch UFC every weekend. I'll watch when I feel like it.
UFC has always been brand first. So,
well, this is what you've created.
Yeah.
It's I don't necessarily love that. But I do like, there was debate about this, and we don't have to get into deep because we'll probably talk about it in a few weeks, but there was the whole thing with Arman Tsarukyan is going to headline now against, who's he fighting? Now
that's a good
escaping
fight, actually,
me. Who is he headlining against? It's escaping me. I knew what I wanted to bring up. It's Arman Tsarukyan and, oh man.
I'm looking it up for you.
Thank you.
Let's see who he is. I know it's a good fight, actually. And the name is escaping me as well.
This is almost proving the point.
Yeah. Mateusz Gamrot.
Yes. I like this fight. And again, we're not going to go deep into it because we'll talk about it in a few weeks, but everyone was debating, is this, I think it was actually Shaquille Majuri who posted kind of a thought question, like a thought-provoking question that a lot of people kind of jumped down his throat for. It was probably not fair to jump down his throat, but I guess I understand why people did to a degree. Is this the, to some effect, it was like, is this the heavyweight, or is this the headliner with the least star power, star value, name value, that kind of thing? I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think it's pretty close. I don't think it's quite there. I want to say Norma Dumont and Aspen Ladd, didn't they headline last year?
Yes, they did.
That is absolutely the lowest. I don't know if that's a record that can be beat because, I mean, it was women's featherweight in the UFC, which is a division that doesn't actually post rankings. So
they actually don't have any
rankings. It's hard to beat the idea of that.
I'm on the page right now. It is completely, it's a picture of Amanda Nunes and nothing else.
Jedi Goodman posts that picture every week. With the latest UFC women's featherweight rankings, and it still cracks me up.
What's actually hilarious, too, is I was looking at lightweight, just seeing where these two actually were right now, and there's no picture of anybody because technically Charles Oliveira is not the champion, which is so silly.
That is so stupid, too. I have nothing against women's featherweight. I think in the Bellator, at least, division is something that they have enough women there to rank. UFC really doesn't, so that's why it's kind of a joke there. But yeah, I mean, I don't care at this point about the star value. I don't want any more heavyweight headliners, so anything that they can do that's not heavyweights, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah, it's a good fight.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, but at least this one didn't make us, watch 4 or 5 rounds of UFC heavyweight action.
Again, that's always a good thing.
Outside of I said this before on the show, but I like watching the top heavyweights. I think the top cream of the crop, they can give you good 5-round fights.
Yes, the elite of heavyweight is great, but then there's a big fall off.
It's a giant fall off, and there's very few guys that I think you could put together a fight that would look good over the course of 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
None of them will involve Andrei Arlovski. No offense to the Pitbull, but
I
it's
like
just
the Pitbull.
Yeah, but even when he was at his peak, I mean, were we really enjoying his 5-round fights?
I like the trilogy in the UFC with him and Sylvia.
Well, they had the fourth.
Then they had
fight.
the quadrilogy
yeah.
out of it, right?
I think it ended in a no contest. No, it wasn't Affliction. I think it was one. I think it was one championship. And I want to say there was foot stomps involved or something, but that they might not have been. I don't know. I'm now this is pulling from deep in my memory, so who knows how much this is right or wrong. But anyway, before we get into contested rounds, I guess probably a couple things we want to talk about. But the question I want to ask you is, who was the biggest winner on this card?
Probably Movsar.
Yeah, I would say so. He definitely stood out against Danny Gay.
Yeah, finally got a good solid name under his belt, even though Dan was on 2-fight losing streak.
But there's some recent name value to Dan. It's not like he's had any sustained success in the UFC at the highest level, but he's been at this like main event level for a large part of the pandemic.
Yeah,
so pretty much that win over Edson Barboza is what kind
debatable
of pushed.
So.
Yeah. I mean, there was obviously it was a close decision, but we have a better understanding now of how those work, sir. So we can see why.
Rob Hines actually was on the show to help us.
He did help us
break
through that one,
down.
Yeah. And I think now we do see it a lot more the way that Rob did explain to us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rob Hines for giving us a lot lot of the initial help.
Yeah.
In
Rob was good
finding our way through this show.
Rob was good to us.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. But yeah, so I would agree with you. I think it's definitely got to be Movsar Evloev is the big winner here. So I don't know. I don't really have much else I really wanted to kind of get into before contested rounds, except for I guess you had something that you were thinking we should probably talk about a little bit. Yeah,
I guess it's not judging related, but it is officiating related.
We do officiating on the show, sure.
In the Ramat Fakhradimov and Andreas Michailidis fight, Michailidis grabbed the fence like 7 times in the first round while he's being clinched and trying to be dragged to the ground. Mark Smith gave him a warning each time. I mean, I don't know. After 6 warnings at some point, I think it's time to take a point.
I'm sorry, sir. This is mixed martial arts. This is not basketball.
No, but I mean,
basketball, 6 fouls and you're out of the game. In MMA, 6 fouls and
we're just
you get a
warming
warning.
up.
You get a warning.
Even I thought Tyone gave a crazy long leash in the fight
Alex
with
De Silva and Joe Solecki.
Silva and Solecki. But he eventually did take the point. I don't know if he had a choice, actually.
But what was nice about it, and they pointed this out on the broadcast, rightfully so, that it was nice that they didn't interrupt the action. They just called out 1 point blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, really great to see, because you always wonder, like, what would you do in a situation like that? Because we really don't see a lot of situations. Like, honestly, as much as De Silva was grabbing the cage with his toes, did you think he was really gaining that much of an advantage as a result of it?
It was allowing him to move.
I know it was, but it wasn't getting him anywhere.
It wasn't, but I mean, it is a foul.
Oh, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
I think I don't know what the actual foul was for, what the official foul was for. I want to say it was most likely for defending by sticking his fingers in Solecki's gloves, because that is preventing him from being choked.
Yeah, see, that's a much greater offense in terms of how it actually affects the fight.
I think the way he was grabbing with his toes, all the slaps that Toyoni gave him was punishment enough. Yeah. He kept slapping him.
He did. He's going to go home. He's got a giant bruise on his foot. It's like, yeah, the ref did this to me.
Yeah, but I do think 6 warnings is a bit excessive. I mean, just take the point.
I'm telling you, it's got to be much more. Like 17 warnings, I think, is what we're looking for.
Like, I'm okay with 2 warnings. Hey, stop grabbing the fence. Hey, stop grabbing the fence. And then, all right, I told you enough. I told you in the back. I told you twice here. It's over. You lose a point.
I feel like and this isn't in the rules. This would require some sort of ruling and that kind of thing. So, and I don't even know how this would be received among officials. Probably they'd be like, no, you can't do that, idiot. But I would say if someone is getting too much in trouble for grabbing the cage, maybe the fight can be moved away from the cage into the middle or something. Yeah. Just a thought. It's really just a thought that occurred to me. It might be a terrible thought. I will acknowledge that, but it's just putting it out there in the world. Perhaps, let the world decide if it was a terrible thought or not.
Maybe we go to a plexiglass instead of chain link.
But make it like all the way up to the roof too. That way they all like fog up and then we can't see.
Yeah, I guess you would need some kind of anti-fog technology.
I think it could be very tough if we do that, because remember, we do need people to be able to watch this sport.
Yes, it is entertainment first, apparently.
Well, like you said, you're just putting it out in the world, just like I just did. That's fine. And then I shot your idea full of holes.
Yeah, you get sweat streaks all down.
Maybe the holes that the cage needs in it, or the plexiglass needs in it.
Got to be squeegeed every in between every round.
Yeah. Especially in a COVID world, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enough of our terrible ideas for how to fix a problem that's barely a problem. Let's go to contested rounds. We'll start with, because we have 7 of them. It's not terrible. There were a lot of finishes here, fortunately, but it was a long card. It was 14 fights, but I think it flew by because of the sheer number of fights that ended early. And I didn't even get to watch this like all the way through. I was out with family during the daytime, so I didn't get to watch as much. But yeah, let's start here with the split decision that we had from this card. It was 2 rounds from Jeff Molina's split decision victory over Zalga Zumagulov, 30-27, 29-28, and then 29-28 the other way. So no 2 cards look the same. Let's start with round 1, sir. What happened here?
Molina comes out, lands a nice right. Then Zuma lands a nice right of his own. And then we kind of just have Zuma grapple him. Grabs the clinch, has the back body lock for like 2 minutes. I think he's landing some good knees. These are not Storley knees. These are actually pretty good knees.
Storley knees still cracks me up.
Molina lands some little punches. I didn't really think much of them. I thought they were more like pitter-patter. I can see how they're becoming annoying. When they separated, Molina lands some decent shots there. I think Zuma lands some decent shots of his own. I can totally see this going for Molina, but I think Zuma was the pick for me, so I went 10-9 Zuma.
Yeah, I also went that same way as you, but I mean, I think it was really close, and you didn't even mention the fact that I thought Molina landed at least one. Was it just one, or was it more than one? Like decent leg kick too.
He did have a good. I thought that was round 2, but I'm sure he did have a good.
I want to say it was round 1. Actually, I could swear it was.
Okay.
We just watched these together.
We actually did, yeah.
Which we don't usually get to watch together, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happened tonight we don't usually do. We got together right after the fights, or not that long after the fights anyway, and we're putting it out on a Sunday. But yeah, definitely very close round. I don't think it's too crazy to go one way or the other, but I saw it the same way as you. I saw it for Zumagulov, which is the same as the only judge who saw it that way, Mike Bell.
Yeah.
Sal D'Amato and Anthony Maness went the other way. So, Dan, what does that mean for Judge Bell?
Couchside override.
Bam. Maybe for him, his should be like an actual like tolling of the bell.
Yeah, and just.
But I can't make that noise, so we're not going to do that. Just know that the thought was there.
Ding.
If your name is the name of something that produces a sound, I should be making a different noise, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, and just for the record, my notes say Zuma. That's why I'm saying it as Zuma. His name is Zumagulov.
So you're not referring to...
It's just easier to type.
You're not talking about my son's favorite Paw Patrol pup, Zuma.
Zuma, okay.
Zuma
I don't know any of them.
Zuma's the orange one that drives the, what's it called? Hovercraft.
Oh, hovercrafts are cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play? Remember that game F-Zero?
Yeah, I remember.
Nintendo? That was cool. That was a cool game.
It's a hard game. I was playing it recently.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I was doing terrible. Maybe it's just because I haven't played it in a while.
I think I always picked the green one that looked like a kind of like a spaceship.
I don't know. I have it on my SNES Classic. You should come over. We'll do that soon.
Okay.
Come over after we record this. It'll be like 4 in the morning.
Totally.
And you just come over and play Super Nintendo.
No sleep needed.
No sleep, Dale. Ever. All right, round 2, though.
Round 2, Molina lands a good leg kick early off balances Zuma Gulov.
It's the Paw Patrol Pup Zuma.
Yeah,
Keep going. We know who you mean.
Eventually, I mean that's pretty much it until Zuma grabs the back clinch again, continues attacking for takedowns against the fence. He's landing some more knees back to the hamstring while against the fence. And Molina is landing a bunch of what to me seem like pitter-patter shots. Probably annoying. Felder's saying these are decent shots. Maybe cage sides, they're better than what I'm seeing on TV. What I'm seeing on TV, I think they just seem more of an annoyance. Then when they do separate, Zuma wobbles Molina with a left hook. I think it can be close enough to go Molina if you weigh those strikes heavier in the clinch than I do, but I don't, so I'm 10-9 Zuma Gulov.
Yeah, that's the thing. I actually did weigh them a little heavier than you. Again, I don't know how close to the end of the fight he's really getting here. It's hard to really say that, but yeah, I could see how they had a little bit more of an effect than just pure pitter patter. So yeah, I ended up going that way. It's the problem with this whole fight, realistically, is the fact
horrible.
It was horrible, but the reason being that Zuma Gulov, who's trying to utilize his grappling his whole time, is not really doing much more than just trying to grapple. I think I've seen this from Zuma Gulov before throughout his UFC run, and it's kind of a frustrating thing because it creates these close fights, and he hasn't been winning, so it's not like he's not winning all of them anyway. And are you learning this is the right way to do things? Not necessarily.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to point out that I thought this was going to be a fight that people lost their minds on after the decision was read. It wasn't that extreme. There was a couple here and there. But
yeah, I want to say it was Aaron Bronstetter pointed out that I guess some people thought that it was crazy that Molina got a 30-27.
I think that
from
also,
Anthony Manus.
I think that also hinges that Molina's reaction. I think that weighs into it a little bit. When he heard the 30-27, he immediately assumed he lost.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone gets mad at the judges in close fights, and no one ever puts any blame on the fighters for leaving it that close. I was never a fan of when Dana White said, "Don't leave it in the hands of the judges." I get it; it's hard to finish fighters, especially now because the skill level is just so much higher.
Yeah, and now MMA as a style has made it harder to finish fights. I feel like,
but I feel like you could at least separate yourself a little bit. Put a little separation between you guys. Like you don't have to finish, but you can help to put stamps on rounds by actually trying to fight.
But I think part of that is sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but no, I think part of that just comes from the fact that there's a total lack of understanding of what wins a round.
Yeah,
like if Zuma Gulov's, or I'll call him Zuma,
Zuma.
We watch enough Paw Patrol in my house. If Zuma is in there, and now I'm just laughing at that. If Zuma's in there and thinking, okay, this is an effective way to win a round by grappling and landing here and there and staying busy and keeping the position, he's listened to enough commentary of UFC fights possibly, or his coaches at least have, that says, yeah, this is what judges are looking for. This is what's winning the round, or speculating is that what it is, and never really getting like a true answer to it. It's not necessarily winning the round unless you're landing those bigger strikes. And it just comes from a lack of understanding. I feel like if more fighters were given the right information, I think more of them, within the best of their abilities, obviously it's still up to them to execute on the night of. And look, I've never fought, so I don't want to judge that. But man, if they just know that, hey, if I go out there and I'm putting it on my opponent more with my hands, like, anyone who watches a fight in a bar would assume is the way you're winning, in a no weapon situation. That's really what it is. It just comes down to damage, more or less. Like it's obviously more nuanced than that, but that's pretty simple. Hurt your opponent more and you're going to win the round.
I'm glad you brought that up because there was a MMA coach who's got some wins under his belt. I can't remember his name, who was going after Aljamain Sterling. And he said, the guy said, I don't know his name, and I wish I did. He said, "You're about as blind as the judges that scored round 1 for you against Jan." And I was like, this is like a high profile, or a guy with great credentials in MMA coaching that doesn't understand.
I wish you knew who this was because I actually missed this.
I am trying to find it, but apparently Aljamain's Twitter is suspended. I just pulled it up.
His Twitter's suspended?
It says account suspended unless I have the wrong name, Funkmaster _UFC.
No, it said Funkmaster MMA.
Okay, is it MMA? Because
Yeah,
I clicked it. I clicked it on the Google.
No,
Twitter,
that's a troll account, sir.
Okay, that's why that's suspended.
Funkmaster MMA.
Let me pull it up then.
Pull up the real one.
Because I can find it. Okay, yeah, Funkmaster MMA. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a couple days ago.
Okay.
So let me.
Yeah, I'll let you find it. While you do,
sort through
I could go into in more greater detail about the Paw Patrol if everybody wants to hear. I'm not going to. Please don't turn this off. I'm not going to do that. I won't do that. By the way, it should be Juma, not Zuma.
Juma.
But yes, and I just to wrap it up too, that Anthony Maness saw it for Molina just as I did. Judges Bell and D'Amato were the ones who saw it for Zhumagulov, just like you, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, our judges Bell and D'Amato, the ones that typically I would think of as the strongest judges kind of that we have there. Yeah, probably. But that doesn't necessarily make them right just because of that reputation, that kind of thing. I do think Anthony Maness has a good case for this round. I think it's perfectly fine to score it that way. I saw it that way. But you can go the other way, too.
Henry Cejudo's coach.
Said it.
Was it?
You talking about HR?
No, hang on. I'm trying to find. I just know. I remember who the coach he was of.
Which one are you talking about?
Sorry, I think I'm going to say his name starts with an R.
Oh, are you talking about Eric Albarracin?
Yeah, that's it. Him.
Okay. Well, he's got some strong opinions in there as well. That's not surprising.
Like, I wonder if it's just trash talk, I guess.
It's probably just trash talk, realistically.
But still, you got to drag judges into it and call them blind for giving you a round that a lot of people are just arguing back and forth who won.
Are you surprised by this?
Yeah, not really.
You shouldn't be.
I know. Yeah, that's who it was. But yeah, anyway, if you take it at face value, it's like, well, you don't really understand how you're this high profile, coach.
Yeah, I think you got to take it with a little more grain of salt, though.
All right, fine, fair.
I mean, what do you know? You're the one who's pulling up the wrong Twitter account.
That's true too. What are you gonna do?
Let's move on. This is enough of this. Let's go to Joe Selecki and Alex Da Silva. They had a majority decision go Selecki's way. It was 29-27 and 28-27. Do I have that right? Yeah. And 28-28.
Wild scores. You're not going to see that every card.
It's very rare because we have a situation where round 2 is an 8-9 split that also featured a point deduction.
Mm-hmm.
And then round 3 is just a typical who won the round. So let's start with round 2. And I'll let you, why don't you go through the events of the round?
Yeah, so Lucky gets a takedown pretty much right from the jump and works his way to the back. It's one-way traffic. He has the body triangle, and he's just attacking rear naked choke the whole time, keeping Da Silva on the defensive. Da Silva keeps putting his toes in the cage, as we mentioned earlier, and he keeps... we
went through a lot of this already.
And he keeps sticking his fingers into the gloves of Selecki to defend the choke. He's warned numerous times, and finally a point's deducted by Tognoni, who just announced, he just yells it out because Selecki's still in a quite the advantageous position, which we both agree is the way to do it.
Absolutely.
He's landing some ground and pound, some punches here and there. Low damage, but I think dominance and duration are there, checked so solidly, that I like a 10-8 here. And with the point deduction, it's a 10-7.
Yeah, I do too. This is of course a round that, yes, because we don't have the damage there, we're not typically seeing judges score this as a 10-8. I feel like we've actually seen a pattern when it comes to Derek Cleary, though. I feel like he is scoring these as 8s relatively consistently.
I agree.
And that's just observationally because we do look at these every week. I don't have any specific data on that, but yeah, I would say that Derek Cleary has gone for the 8 many times in rounds like this, and I commend him for it. I think there's, by the rules as they are written, he is doing nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong, and there is nothing wrong necessarily with a commission saying, well, you know what, because it's it can consider it being an 8. As opposed to a 9 without damage, or what, you can say we don't want to see those as 8s. That can kind of be, implied or mandated or what have you, whatever it is that's going on with X commission, here or there. It seems like in Nevada it's certainly happening, or it has been happening anyway. That's technically within the rules too, but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this being an 8, so I scored it an 8 as well, just like you, just like Derek Cleary. Sal D'Amato, Adelaide Bird, they did not. They had this as a 9. And once again, when we say a 9, there's a point deduction, so it's really a 10-8 versus a 10-7. We don't have a lot of conversations about 8 and 7 splits, but that's because of a lost point. It's not like we're talking about the total beatdown of a 7 versus an 8. Like I think the only time we ever really had that conversation was for the Khamzat Chimaev 10-7 that it was Mark Collette, the English judge, gave that. We haven't seen one since.
Now I know. Now
years.
I know. 10-6 is not a right score you can give.
You can get a 10.
You can get a 10-6 with a point deduction.
Point deduction.
Okay.
That's how you can get there.
Okay.
It's already a unicorn to get a 10-7, even one of them out of 3.
Just check.
So just to, yeah. So if Khamzat is beating the crap out of was it Reese McKee that he got it on, or was it John Phillips? I can't remember which of the ones. I
feel like the John Phillips was more of a beatdown.
I can't remember,
but I'm not sure.
It's one of those two. But anyway, whichever one it was. Let's say the other guy, he poked him in the eye or something, or tried to fishhook him to get out of there. just something desperate to get out. Yeah, you lost the point too. Oh yeah, so now it goes from a 7 to a 6. That would be something.
It'd be funny. You can't take a point from me. I already lost 3.
I'm gonna say this without actually verifying it. And look, if I'm wrong, I would love to hear the example where I am wrong. But I'm gonna say with confidence, there has never been a 10-6 round in MMA. Never happened.
Wow.
Never happened.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. I'm just gonna say it as blindly confident as I possibly can. But again, someone's got an example otherwise. Let me know, because we will definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
round.
That'd be wild.
I would love to hear about that, and make sure we can verify that in some way too. But yeah, so that was round 2. Of course, we have much more natural conversation about round 3. It's really just who won the round in this case.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, hold on a sec. Before we do that, sir, and this is my fault for
I know where you're going.
Yeah, there's something I was supposed to do. What is it, though?
You don't want to forget about this.
Can't remember it.
Give him his couch side over.
That's for Judge Clearly.
Yes.
Actually, no, he was Cleary this time because
Joe Martinez was there.
Bruce Buffer was off. I love Joe Martinez. Look, I like Buffer too. It's just sorry, one of them actually gets the names right most of the time. Anyway, round 3. Yeah,
this was a very close round. Early Selecki's landing the better strikes. I think he's landed a couple good leg kicks from De Silva. But I think the combinations from Selecki were just a little bit more impactful. But as the fight goes on, De Silva gets a takedown, and he lands some good ground and pound here. 2 solid elbows. Then invites him back up to the feet. And he says, "No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to kick you in the legs one more time." Then he's like, "Okay, come back up. We're good. Let's go again." Then they continue to trade. De Silva's landed some pretty heavy shots here. He's getting good reactions. Selecki's head's can snap at 3 feet. Selecki keeps firing back. He's landed some good ones of his own. But I think De Silva gets the nod. I think he's clearly, not clearly, he's got the edge in the immediate impact. So I'm 10-9 De Silva.
Yeah, I did too. Nothing else to add for that one, sir. It was really close. He just didn't quite get there, right?
It was a fun round.
He just didn't. Yeah, it was good. It definitely was a fun round. I liked the end of this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we went with Judges Cleary and Bird here. Judge D'Amato was on his own for Selecki, but yeah, I was very close to going Selecki's way. I just maybe with if he had a little bit more time at the current rate he was going, he might have been able to overtake him. But you can only weigh those 5 minutes, right?
Yep. And he had a good start. So
yeah, and that's it. That's it for this fight. Anyway, we've got 3 more rounds from individual fights here, as opposed to having 2 from each fight. The next 2 are 10-8, 10-9 situations, and in both cases, it's Judge Doug Crosby who is the out judge. And it's one it's an 8 and one's a 9. He just wasn't quite. Looks like he's having trouble finding the right kind of zone of how everyone else was seeing 8s and 9s. So why don't we start with Movsar Evloev against Danny Ige? Right, it was 30-27 twice and a 30-26. So like I said, Doug Crosby is the one who gives the 8 score in round 3, as opposed to Judges Bell and Junichiro Kamijo saw this as a 10-9. So Dan, why are we talking about this?
It's a one-way round for sure, and I wish rounds like this were just auto 8s. But for a good portion around, I felt Evloev was just working position. He eventually does start landing some good strikes, good ground and pound, looks to be pushing for a finish, and it started getting close for me. I'm like, okay, maybe the 8, he's gonna get there. But Ige starts landing some elbows thrown, from the ground, and they get it back to the feet, which basically kind of, I guess, took Evloev's momentum pretty much. If he's able to keep it there and continue reigning, I might get there. And then he just takes him back down and kind of just let the round run out. He didn't get that. He didn't cross over the threshold for me, so I'm just 10-9 Evloev.
Yeah, I can't necessarily tell you you're wrong for any of what you said. It makes a lot of sense, but I did see it as an 8 for Evloev, and maybe I'm just trying to push harder for 8s this week.
I would love if this was, like I said, auto 8. I would like rounds like this.
It feels like that you actually, I think there's some damage being done. It's not crazy damage, so I think that's probably why, maybe it's tougher to check damage for this particular round. Our dominance and duration there, I feel like they are. I feel like you can make the case that they are.
I think you could.
It's maybe not the strongest is the tough part there. So, but yeah, this is what I've been calling them lately, and I probably said this on the show, this is a different round. It just feels like a different round, And I think rounds like that, there should be room in the criteria. There isn't right now, and to word it this particular way, but there should be room in the criteria that just says, look, this round it's not the same as another round. This is such a clear, obvious round. It's almost like anything that's like an obvious round, unequivocally. And I don't mean obvious to the people watching at home because they think everything is obvious, even when it's super close. I'm talking about trained judges. When they sit there and they say, look, this is a no-brainer. It has to be this guy. There should be room to give that round a different score. We're not there, obviously. And that's not why I gave this round a 10-8, because that wouldn't make sense. I think I'm going with, I guess, possibly a weaker case for dominance and duration is what I'm doing here. Okay. So, and I'll admit that it's a very close one. And realistically, you probably got a stronger argument, but I guess I can kind of, when I'm watching this is what I felt at the time. And, judges, when they sit there at the end of the round, they have to give their score right away. Right. Mm-hmm. I try to do that too. I try to make sure I make my decision the moment the horn sounds and I say, okay, this is what it is. Because if I'm being fair to the judges we talk about every week, you really got to think about it in the same way they have to think about it. So that's where I go. Sometimes we revisit them and we talk about it, but I always try to keep the context. So. Okay. Yep. But yeah, so no couchside override for Doug Crosby on this one, but I did see it his way. All right. So that was it for that fight, of course. Renat I'm not gonna say his name right. I'm probably just gonna curse
Fakhretdinov.
Got the win over Andreas Michailidis. 2 30-26s and a 30-27. Again, it's round 3. And again, it's Doug Crosby who saw things differently in an 8-9 split than his compatriots. It was Chris Lee and Tony Weeks, who we hadn't seen much of, I think, in a couple months, realistically. So it was interesting to see him back on there. They both gave 10-8s to Fakhretdinov. Why are we talking about this one?
Oh, well, Fakhretdinov gets a quick takedown and starts landing some ground and pound. He lands some good elbows, opens up a nice cut, solid amount of blood coming from it. But I feel the attacks were more intermittent, and I think he could have probably finished it had he pushed harder. It's another one-way traffic round, so I'd love rounds like this. Again, auto 8. But I don't think he really pushed for the finish. I think he took too much time to just hang on to position for a while in between his attacks. That's why I didn't go there. I think damage is definitely there. I'll say that. As far as duration, dominance, weaker cases there, I think.
I think dominance you can check.
Okay.
I do feel like dominance is actually there. And I think that the combination of damage and dominance is what probably pushes it over the top for judge. I'm assuming for judges Lee and Weeks here, because once you get damage, they want damage. Obviously, everything is all about damage now. Yeah. So if you have it there, definitely makes it a lot easier. As long as you get the other like one other D there, you can make that case a lot better. You're very anti 8 today. I feel like
I wasn't in Selecki and Da Silva.
That's true, but in this one, I was. So for these last 2 rounds, the ones that Crosby's in the minority here, you were the 9s and I was the 8s. We were flipped on each of them. I thought that was fascinating.
We each took a turn hanging out with Doug.
We did. So he's off the hook. He's not too crazy here or anything like that. But yeah, so you saw it his way as the 9. I saw it the 8 for Fakhretdinov. Along with Chris Lee and Tony Weeks, but yeah, so we're just split here. That's all it is. It's just 2 splits on the 8-9 situation. But yeah, the language, I think it just needs to be revisited more. I hope that whatever committee it is, that the Rules and Regs Committee or whatever, I hope they're doing their homework. I trust that they're doing their best to try and come up with.
I know they said right. They said it was written purposely vague, right?
Yeah, well, the criteria itself, of course, was written purposely vague, but I feel like
they don't. I mean, I feel they can tighten it up.
They're definitely. And I've spoken to officials privately before about kind of some of the ideas I have, where like realistically, like hey, there's some holes here, even if you think that the document is pretty solid, there's ways to shore it up.
I like it to be a bit more rigid in some areas.
In some areas, I feel like there should be room for some rigidity there. Yeah. I don't know. It's complicated. It really is complicated because I do understand the reason why it was left vague. Like some people don't get it. Some people want everything to be outlined. You can't outline it all. It's true. It's been explained to us before by, I want to say it was Rob Hines and probably Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
Even Ben Cartlidge, if he was on, when he was on the show. I can't remember who it was necessarily who was telling us this. We had a great summer talking to some very knowledgeable, respected officials that 2 years ago, and I think they taught us a lot, but sometimes it's been a while, so now it's running together who said what.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I do think that you need it to be vague to a point, but you do need probably to continue to mature the language that's in here and revisit it. It's not where it should be. We can grow.
Oh, one more fight, right?
We do have one more fight, sir, and that is Damon Jackson against Daniel Argueta. He got the win, of course, Damon Jackson, 30-27 twice, and a 29-28. So we're only talking about round winner, and in this case, it is round 3. When the fight was already, Argueta has to finish it to win it, basically, or get a 10-8, which we know didn't happen. What is happening in this round that we're kind of talking about? Who may have won?
Yeah, they kind of different from how the first 2 rounds went. They both come out and they're striking. Actually, Argueta's coming, he's pushing. He's like, I know I got to finish, so I'm going to try to finish. And they're both landing heavy strikes early, but Argueta rocks Jackson and drops him. Continues to land the better shots until he decides to attack a takedown. But once he gets it down, Jackson scrambles and is able to get the top position and hangs out there for the remainder of the round pretty much. He's setting up an arm triangle from top half guard, but never really able to attack it. This goes on for basically the full almost 2 minutes of that final round. Around maybe like 10 seconds left, he said he lands a couple strong elbows in the final seconds. But I think Argueta was more immediately impactful and more effective during this round. I can totally see an argument for Jackson now, more so than I did live. When I heard the score 30-27 for Jackson, I thought, well, that's kind of silly. But I can understand it now. So
how dare you refer to another man as silly? No, I'm just kidding. It's fine because you're silly like that. Yeah, it was Chris Lee and Anthony Manus who saw this one for Jackson. It was Mike Bell who saw this one for Argueta, and I have to agree with you. I have to agree with Mike Bell. I think this is an Argueta round. I do think, Jackson comes on pretty strong at the end. At the very end, he starts to tip it, and he's got that time on the mat for quite a little while, and there's something there. But it damages what's winning out for me, and I think damage is again what you're really looking for. You're looking for who was the most effective in terms of trying to end the fight. And Jackson was pretty effective in what he was trying to do the first 2 rounds in particular, but round 3, I don't know if he was necessarily able to accomplish that to the degree of outweighing everything that Argueta did when he felt the heat and he knew he had to do something. He was succeeding, and Jackson wasn't able to bring it down like he wanted to. That kind of carried over from the round before where he was, in control most of the round, but at the end it was like, there's something here. It's actually turned into a bit of a fight. And it was nice to see this turn into a bit of a fight after the first 2 rounds of just utter, control, dominance, whatever word you want to use, that really just meant that this was all Jackson's fight for a while. But so you and I, we're on the Argueta train with Mike Bell and only Mike Bell. So that means what for Mike Bell?
For the second time, couchside override.
Ding dong ding. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, it didn't work.
I thought the Undertaker was coming.
Ooh. We should probably license that sound.
Oh.
I don't want to pay for it, but it'd be fun. That's it. That's it for contested
Can you imagine
rounds.
we get a cease and desist from WWE?
Gosh.
I would frame it. I'd be so happy.
Well, what if actually the Undertaker showed up behind you? Kind of like in that meme everyone does with AJ Styles, or what did they call the Boneyard match? I didn't watch it, so obviously. So
during COVID, they got into those cinematic matches.
Yeah, I heard about these.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everyone uses that GIF of I guess it's AJ Styles, right? Is that his name?
AJ Styles.
And he's like, oh, he's all excited, and then behind him is the Undertaker. And I'm just imagining him appearing behind you now.
I know I'd be scared because as a kid, I'd turn the channel when he was doing his entrance, and then try to time it when the match was going to start to put it back on. So
look, don't be scared, homie. If you had Nick Diaz wide words before, you would have been fine.
Had only I'd known Nick Diaz then.
That is it though for the rounds. 9 finishes, like we mentioned. 5 of them were KO or TKO. 4 subs. 5 first round finishes. 4 of which were on the main card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, what a wild one. And or was it 5? How many were on the main card? Was it 4 or 5? No, it was a 6 fight main card. And
I had 5 in the first round.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. No. One of them I think was round 2.
Okay.
Anyway, that's not terribly important. We're just slicing things all sorts of ways. What was your favorite of the finishes, sir?
Oh, Saint Denis over Stoltz.
Saint Denis.
Saint Denis. I don't even think I'm saying Stoltz right.
Probably not.
But I thought his back take straight to the body triangle was one of the slickest I've seen in a long time, and he had just attacked the neck right after. And it's not very often you get a rear naked choke where you fully get the hand behind the guy's head, which he had it locked in and got the tap. I thought that was just pretty awesome.
You are quite the grappling nerd, sir.
I enjoyed that a lot.
No, that's fine. I like it too.
I also like Darren Blanchfield's guillotine.
The standing guillotine, yeah.
I think it was more of a fortunate situation how she got there, but once she got there, it was pretty sick. So
now the kid's got skills.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm interested to watch her continue to climb up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they take some time and build her up right.
Mm-hmm.
Because
she wants Macy Barber next, so
I guess
what? That could work.
At least Macy Barber's still kind of essentially a prospect as well. Yeah, I could be all right with that.
Yeah. What was your favorite?
I liked Ode Osborne getting the KO in 61 seconds on Zaruk Adashev. I mean, he hits so hard, this kid. He's not a kid. He's 30. I'm 30. I'm going to be 37 next week, actually. By the time we record again, I'll be 37.
You know what? Apparently, 30 is kid age at MMA.
And Dana calls every single person in the world kid, apparently.
Well, he's almost 60, so.
He's not.
He's in his 50s.
I think he's like 52 or something.
So he's almost 60. He's 8 off.
I'm not usually in the position where I'm defending Dana, but I mean, let's get the facts right. I'm probably wrong on his age too, but I think he's early 50s.
All right.
But yeah, so Ode Osborne, he just hits so hard, and I knew he was gonna knock this kid out because this matchmaking just didn't seem right to me. Adashev,
Bellator was doing matchmaking.
It was a little bit like that, but yeah, I like Ode Osborne. I like watching him fight. Whenever he's on, I'm very interested. So yeah, and he delivered. He delivered again.
He definitely delivered. And Zaruk Adashev got pummeled after he got knocked out.
What did I say to you? I said he was counting ghosts.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Shadow Realm, and I just didn't want to say Shadow Realm. So I'm like, oh, he's counting ghosts.
Yeah. Shadow Realm is since Mearshart used it. It's kind of become very popular.
It has. Everybody uses it, and I almost just don't want to use it. Not because I mean, Mearshart is a fun personality in the sport anyway, but I feel like I just wanted to say something different. So there you go. I'm just that's me. Different to be different. Typical. That's it for this card, though. I think we can turn the page now to UFC 275, which is the pay-per-view that I've been looking to for a while because it's my birthday. Yeah,
it's Scott's birthday, and we're gonna go watch the fights together somewhere.
Yes, we will. I made sure to arrange to not be working that day, although I'll still come home and write a column because that's what I want to do. But yeah, I'll actually get to just kind of enjoy the fights instead of having to watch them while I'm also doing other work-related activities, which is not always the most fun way to do stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for Glover Teixeira's first title defense against Yuri Prohaska. I've spoken to both of these men in the last couple weeks, and hopefully you will check out some of my interesting content that I've produced for New York Post on this fight. But Dan, what's your take on this one?
I don't know.
Because I'm not making picks. I told you, I don't want to make picks anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Glover loves to get rocked and then come back. So I think
he does keep on ticking after taking that licking.
Prochaska can definitely rock him. I think it's gonna be more competitive. I think people are kind of writing Glover off in this match.
There has been kind of a general sense for a long time that it's almost like he's just kind of holding the belt for, even if it's not now, like eventually it's going to be Prochaska. A lot of people just seem to assume this, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a competitive fight. Even if he does lose, I think he's gonna show that he gave Prochaska more of a fight than people are expecting.
It's Prochaska. If he's going to be the champ, you got to get the name right, sir.
Oh, yeah.
That's only
I'm just
going
to call him Champ Yuri if he wins. Champ Yuri.
Well, his name's not that hard. It's not like Jędrzejczyk, which is spelled in I guess it's a Polish pronunciation, but it's spelled like Jairzinho.
It is, yeah.
That's a different one. But Prochaska, that's not too bad.
It is easy.
You just kind of don't say the C there.
You don't say the C. But I like Yuri is a cool name now.
Yuri is a cool name, yeah.
Maybe if he added a TA in front, he can be Tajiri. He's going to hit Glover with some green mist and then elbow him to get the win.
I believe it's not a nickname, but it's like a slogan that he has that's BJP. Do you know what BJP stands for?
BJ Penn.
No, it's not BJ. Well, okay. Technically, you're not wrong. It actually does stand for BJ Penn, but that's not what it is in this particular case. His nickname, or not nickname, like I said, it's more of a slogan. BJP is some sort of Polish saying that I am not going to attempt to butcher, but I will say that the English pronunciation or the English translation, according to Wikipedia, is bomb the ish out of them.
That's an awesome nickname, and I hope Wikipedia isn't wrong.
Again, it's a catchphrase. It's a catchphrase. Then he uses it on his like clothing and stuff.
I like that. That's awesome.
You should, if he becomes the champ, you should get a BJP shirt.
I will,
because then you can also say it's for BJ Penn.
Okay, Baby J Penn.
No matter what, you win anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You got a pick in this fight?
No. You know what? I'm not picking.
You're done making picks too?
Here's the thing.
You're giving up too? I thought you liked doing this.
A week before I make my picks on this show, and then a week later, when I'm ready to make my bets, I completely pick different.
Right.
So it's like, no, I'm gonna say I think it's gonna be a more competitive fight than people are giving it a chance for.
I think you're taking a cue out of Matthew Wells, who was on our show recently, out of his playbook by avoiding making picks until later in the week.
Yeah, it's just a bit early.
It's a smart. Honestly, when he said that, it made a lot of sense to me in general, because it's
the next fight
I will make a pick. How much more are you
going to
form your opinion right now? Like you got a lot of research to do. We don't have that much time to plan every week. It's a new thing, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the next fight I will make a pick.
All right,
because
I think it's probably a little easier to make a pick in this fight. Yeah, Valentina Shevchenko against Taila Santos. Shevchenko, of course, defending her women's flyweight title for the 6th time or 7th time. It's some absurd number that I feel like it's quietly gotten that high.
Yeah,
but she chugs along. She wins 2 fights a year and just crushes everybody. I know it's kind of a little later for her to make her first fight of the year. It doesn't sound like it was necessarily her idea, because I spoke to her recently as well. And it sounds like she's very interested in getting a second title defense in this year. Like, very highly motivated to do so. Or at least a second fight, whether it's a title defense or going up to challenge for the 35 belt. We didn't talk about that because it sounds like everybody talks about it with her. So I avoided that subject. I want to go touch other areas in the 10 minutes I had with her. But, are you interested in this fight?
Yeah, I think Taila Santos is an interesting fighter there.
What's kind of neat about these two is that both of them, each of them has a parent who was a Muay Thai coach.
Oh.
So Taila Santos' father was her Muay Thai coach, or maybe is still. And Valentina Shevchenko's mother was a champion in Muay Thai and is the head of I'm forgetting exactly which former Soviet republic she comes from. But from the nation that she hails from. Yeah, it's just escaping me at the moment.
What's interesting, at least it's a new matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that
she has a bunch of those. She turns them away and reminds us why she's that much better than everybody else. Yeah, I'm. I think it's not hard to predict how this one's going to go. And would there be a surprise in there? Sure, it could happen. But
maybe she wins by sub.
That's okay.
Like maybe keep it something like that.
Fair enough. The judges for UFC 275, this being in Singapore, and I believe the UFC is probably acting as its own commission in this sense. They are going to be hiring their officials and everything like that. So I would bet, based on past practices and little rumblings of what I've heard as well, it's probably going to be a combination of English judges and Aussie judges. The English judges we hold in high regard. They acquit themselves very well at events. The Aussie judges are a lot more mixed. So here's hoping that, I guess if I was to make any prediction, I would say that probably neither of these title fights is actually going to need to be worrying about a close fight or even getting the distance. That's kind of where I feel. So hopefully the judges will not necessarily need to assert themselves in the decision of this fight one way or the other. Either of these title fights.
We'll see.
Yeah. Or hopefully they just staff the best judges. Hopefully they're all English judges, because I have a lot of trust in them.
I think they're going to need it in the next fight.
They might, yeah.
Because the first one.
The other fights that we're interested in, of course, it's a no-brainer that the other most interesting fight here is the Zhang Weili against Joanna Jędrzejczyk rematch at 115 pounds. This fight is one of my all-time favorites.
It's definitely hitting the Hall of Fame at some point.
It has to 100%.
I honestly, most sequels don't live up to the original, and
especially not in the fight game, for sure.
And I think that's going to hold true here. I think I'm not saying that they're not going to throw themselves into the fire the way they did in the first fight, but they each took a lot of damage in that fight.
It's going to play out different.
And I don't know even if it's subconscious, if you're willing to just go do that again, even if it's only 3 rounds instead of 5. So
I just thought of a good nickname if you were a grappling expert. Subconscious.
All right.
I like it.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Right?
The Subconscious podcast.
Like a really good... Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your spin-off from Couchside Judges when you do a grappling-heavy show.
We'll see.
I don't know who you'll do that with. It won't be me. I think you'll have to find a better partner for that than me. My plate's getting very full. I already have 2 podcasts and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously you're not making picks at this point. But I mean, do you at least think you'll still be entertained by this?
Oh,
fight?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's exciting. I just know. I mean, you look at. You even brought this up to me the other day. Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner rematch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like
one got so much better, I think was the difference. They were still earlier in their careers.
That's true too.
So it's tough. These are 2 women who are still, if they're not at the top of their game, it's because they're just past it, but maybe not by too much. It's hard to tell because Joanna hasn't fought in more than 2 years, right? We don't really know where she's at, but there are people who could watch that fight and make the case that she won the fight and is the rightful champion. So, It's hard to gauge. I'm interested to see what she looks like 2 years later. Maybe that time off does her good.
It could.
I'm supposed to be talking with her this week, so I'm interested to find out kind of how she feels the last 2 years off have been for her.
If nothing else, it should at least help let her body recover a little bit, not being in such a hard training camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I would think so. I'm sure she was still training, but
it's still training, but you're not in training camp. It's
very
different.
It's different. It's different. Anything else you wanted to see on this one?
Yeah, I added.
There's definitely a couple from me.
Yeah, there is. I added it. I don't know if it got onto your outline. It's definitely on mine. Jacob Malkoun and Brendan Allen.
Okay.
At 185, I think that's an interesting matchup. I think Malkoun is a nice grinding fighter, and Allen,
wow, you described someone that everybody loves to watch.
But Brendan Allen is kind of leave it all out there, throw the kitchen sink at you.
Mm-hmm.
Also very good at grappling.
Would you say he's subconscious?
Might be. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. So that's one I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Now, I'm very excited, actually, for Mel Kopp, because he's always interesting to watch. Him and Rogerio Bontorin are going to be a good fight at 125 pounds.
Will Bontorin make 125?
Will Manel Kopp?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, too.
He's missed weight, too. I was telling you before, he missed weight against Ode Osborne.
They should have just said, let's just do it as a 35.
Why don't they? Yeah, how about we just not cut weight anymore?
Yeah. Like, we
just show up. Both we look similar in size. You're probably not going to, show up like, Patty Pimlet. Be a heavyweight. But, that one should be fun. Flyweights are often very fun. I think we all kind of know that. As long as the right flyweights. I think Jem Molina and Zaruka, not Zaruka Dashev, and Zaga Zumagulov. That fight wasn't the most interesting at flyweight, but
No.
Odie Osborne certainly was. That lived up to the hype. Jack Della Maddalena, I think all of us are pretty interested in his development at 170 pounds. Ramazan Emeev, though, he is not always the most interesting fighter, so this could go one of two ways. It could either be a very interesting fight for an interesting prospect, or it could be a wet blanket fight with Ramazan Emeev. So I'm putting it on here as one I'm interested in, but it's one that I'm also nervous about.
I'm pretty confident in Della in this one. So
we'll see. Ramazan Emeev is in a lot of split decisions, sir. So I bet you will be talking about this one.
Wait,
next
so
week.
you're saying bet split decision?
Please don't. I am not telling anyone to do anything with their money except give it to me.
Yeah.
Just give me money. I got home projects I'm working on. Please help out.
And that does it for this episode of the Couchside Judges. We will be back again next week, most likely on Monday after Scott's birthday. So happy birthday to Scott.
Yes. Send, like I said, money. Send all your valuables. Give me all of your stock options and things. I would like that.
That's a nice present.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy the week and enjoy the fights next weekend.
Yep. Thanks for listening.